Okay, well, so yesterday we were learning about the different. I just want to make sure that I'm on the right daf. We learned Kudal yesterday, I believe. So today it's Kofei. It's Kofei. I think so.
I think we learned
Kofei
yesterday.
Right, we didn't Kofei yesterday. Okay, I'm so mixed up with the blutter. Whenever I say share for Finkel, so I get very thrown off because I end up being like 4 blocks behind over there. So okay, so this is where we're holding. Okay, Gavalti. So yesterday we learned about the cases of what's considered moment. For instance, if you have something that's worthless, like Chometz B'Pesach, but had it not been there, I'd have to pay back in full. And someone has Chometz B'Pesach, let's say that he stole from somebody, and he was accused of stealing that Chometz B'Pesach, and he swore and he said, I didn't steal it. The Chometz B'Pesach, now that it's after Pesach, it's worthless. It's not money anymore. So do you say that even though he swore to deny that he had that Chometz Shavuot of a Pesach, that he stole before Pesach, so that's not called a Shavuot of Kfir of Mammon. So therefore it shouldn't be Mechayiv him a carbon Shavuot. Or do you say it could lead to Mammon in the event that someone would take it? Now he'll have to take money out of his pocket to pay for the price of the fully valuable chametz before it became aser. So in a way, the chametz has no value that he's denying that he holds, but it could lead to value. Is that called enough value that you bring a shvuah for swearing? So that was actually brought as a shaila, and Rabbah paskined that you for sure will swear for that, and the Gemara challenged him from the brisa that said that if someone says that the reason why your para is in my place is because I found it and I was going to give it back to you, so the halacha is there, or he said, I'm sorry, there's many cases. He said, I'm a shomer chinam. So there are, once again, if he swears that he's a shomer chinam, he's only going to be chayiv on a pshia, but really he stole it and he should be chayiv for everything. So that shvuah that he made could potentially save him money, or maybe it wouldn't save him any money because he's there and he's giving it back. So the Gemara says that the Brisa says over there that you don't the shvuah over there will not be mechayiv him a carbon. So why did Rabbah say by the money is mechayiv him a carbon? So Rabbah said that over there was a case of halach. He gave it right back. Since he gave it right back, it wasn't possibly going to cost him any money because he's giving it back. So it's not going to get lost. It's not going to get stolen. However, in a case where he's not giving it right back, then Avada, if he's not giving it right back, then Avada, he'll be mechuyev for the Shavuot, according to the way Rabbah understood it. I believe that's where we ended off. And I believe we're up to Tanya. Tanya Omar Ben Azai, which is about 20 lines up from the bottom of Kufay Amud Beis. Tanya Ben Azai, Omar Ben Azai said, Gimel Shavuot say. There's 3 categories of a carbon Shavuot, but we have not yet defined what is the halacha about them. What does Ben Azai want to tell us about these 3 Shavuos? First, let's drill down what are these 3 Shavuos. Hein hikirba v'lei b'moitza. So we're talking about Shavuos Eidos. If I know that you saw something that I need you to testify about, that I'll benefit from, and you're denying that you know anything, and I ask you to swear that you don't know, you're unaware of what I think you're aware of, and you make that shvuah, and it turns out that you lied and you really did have information, the halacha is that you have to bring a carbon shvuah. That's one of the reasons why you bring the carbon oil of the earth. So what happens if a hikirba v'loy b'moitza. The person who I'm asking, I lost an aveda, I lost my chamor, and I think you know where my chamor is. I think you saw my chamor, and you said, I don't know about your chamor. You lied. You didn't say this, and really, you actually saw my chamor being found by somebody, and somebody's walking away with it, and you knew it was my chamor, but you didn't know the person who found it. So you didn't testify because what am I supposed to tell you? I saw someone walking with your chamor. That's not going to help you because I have no idea who your chamor was found by. Or b'moitza v'leiba. Yeah, I saw Shimon who I recognized with the chamor, but I didn't know it was your chamor. Or loiba v'leiba moitza. I didn't know it was yours, and I didn't know who was taking it. And as I saw someone walking down the street, I didn't know who was walking down the street. I know the name of the guy, and I didn't know who the chamor belonged to. If that was the case, that Hitaka didn't recognize not the Aveda and not the finder, then Kushta Ishtaba. When he swears that I know nothing about your issue, he's not lying. That is the truth. So Ema Bo V'Maitza. He had recognized both the finder as well as the dover that was lost. So now those are the three cases. There's three shvuos we're talking about. In each of the three cases, he swore he saw nothing. I know nothing. I saw nothing. But in each of the three cases, either he knew everything, he knew the Aveda, he saw the Aveda of his friend, and he saw the person taking the Aveda, so he knows who has it, or he saw a person taking an Aveda, but he didn't know it was his friend's Aveda, or vice versa. He saw his friend's Aveda, but he didn't know it was taken. Why is that valuable testimony if he's not really concluding anything? So Rashi explains why it would have been valuable testimony. Aveda, he saw the Aveda. I saw your chamor. I saw your chamor in somebody else's property, meaning somebody else took it. But I don't know who found it. I saw Shimon schlepping a chamor. I didn't know it was your chamor. And I didn't know it was your chamor. So why would it have been incumbent upon this witness to have reported what he saw? If this guy comes, if Chaim Yankel said, "Did you see my chamor?" I can say, "I don't know, I didn't see your chamor, but I know Shimon found something. Maybe he found your chamor. Go ask him." We were talking about an eid echad. It was a single eid. So even if I said I saw Shimon with something, you wouldn't be able to munch Shimon in Bezdin because I'm only in eid echad. Okay, so what is Allah? Or Bava le'b'moitza, this Rashi is out of order. I saw that your chamor was found at the corner of Bathurst and Wilson, but I don't know who the person was that found it. So there'll be some benefit to the person if I would have said this testimony, because then he would go around the whole Bathurst and Wilson neighborhood and ask around, did you see somebody in the chamor? Until somebody would have seen something and would have told him where it was. Zokt Rashi, this aid by withholding the information isn't really directly damaging the person who needed this testimony. The inami asad lay, because even if one aid would come along and say, I saw Shimon was walking with your animal, still, when they went and attacked Shimon to make him pay, the Moitza Aveda could have said, an oinus happened, and therefore, he would be potter anyway. So therefore, even this aid that they're demanding a shvuah from, because they're afraid he's withholding testimony, the testimony of this aid would not have for sure got them their mitzvah back. So let's see what the halach is. So we have these three cases. Hakoifer, I'm sorry, I'm going too far ahead. Amar Benazi Gimel Shvu saying take your bubble, the mitzvah leba, or loy bubble mitzvah, which the Gemara corrects, loy bubble mitzvah kush nishtaba. Then he didn't see anything. Ema bo v'mitzvah lemay hilchas. So Lagabi, what is Ben Azai pointing out that these three cases are unique. Ravabi Amar Reb Chanina liftar to say that in all these three cases he would be potter. Al kulon potter eight. So if the eight swore he didn't see anything, he didn't know anything, and in fact he knew something, he would be potter anyway because he couldn't be mechayiv anybody moment anyway. Ushmulam melechiyuv. And Shmuel says Ben Az is pointing these things out to tell you that this would be mechuyev a korban shvuah. Ubeplugta dahan tanoi. In fact, there's a machlokes tanoim about this same subject. The Tanya we looked in the Brisa. Hamashbia eid echad potter. Whenever you're mashbia an eid echad, whatever aid it was that you wanted this aid to say, even if it's to say you saw that I lent Shimon $100, and the aid refuses to testify, the aid is potter, and he swears that he doesn't know anything, the aid is potter from korban shvuah. Rabbi Loza b'Shimon mechayiv. So b'mai kamivil. In what is this machlokes tali? Zok to Gemara Marsaver Davar Agarim Lamamin Kamamindam. Now this isn't a classic case of Davar Agarim Lamamin like a Shar Nishkol that I'm watching. And it's Agarim Lamamin because if I don't have it, I'm going to have to pay in full. No. Just means since the aid could have caused that someone has to pay. For instance, I'm asked to say, you saw that Reuven borrowed $1,000 from me. You saw Reuven borrowed $1,000 from me, and therefore I want you to come say this. Now let's say I came say this, and I said Reuven borrowed $1,000 from me. Reuven doesn't have to pay. Reuven has a right to swear and to potter himself. But maybe Reuven won't want to swear, and he'll want to pay. So that's why it's a dover agorim l'mom. It's not guaranteed that my testimony will deliver you the money that you want, but it definitely will be a help. It will cause it. So therefore it's a good, valuable testimony, and by denying that you had that testimony, you're chayiv a korban shvuah. Umar sover laf kamamandami, and the other one holds, yes, it's possible that you would have gotten his money if the fellow wouldn't have wanted to swear, but it's also possible that he would have sworn and he wouldn't have paid. So therefore, by me withholding ages, I didn't for sure damage. Someone had a pikadon. Reuben gave Shimon a watch to watch. And when Reuben came to collect that watch, Shimon said, I don't know what you're talking about. You never gave me a pikadon. So the halacha is nasa olav gazlan. The person who denies that he has a pikadon automatically changes status from a shomer to a gazlan, meaning now he's chayiv and aloinson. The chayiv oinson. He's no longer only chayiv if he was Mashiach as a shomer schinam, or he's not only chayiv on Geneva Veda if you consider him a shomer sacher, but he's now mechuyev anointed because his status changed from shomer to gazlan. And Rashi says, where would it be relevant that he would have to pay if Adam come and testify they pay? Not all of gazlan mishas kfira. From the moment he denied it, even though he didn't swear that he doesn't have a pekad, he just denied it. Right away there, it makes him into a gazlan. He no longer has the status of a shchinam, which patters him for Gneva of Aveda, patters him for Mointin. It's going to be Mechayiv in Mointin. If there's an oinus happening now, and it got damaged, he'll be Chayiv Mointin because he has the status of a Kazla. Okay, so let's see what the Gemara says. The Tana Tuna, we have a brisa to support that. It says V'kichesh ba Lamadnu oinish. That tells you the oinish. So if we look at the pasuk, we'll see what it means. So the V'kichesh ba, what's going to happen to him? In this Baal Sheker, the halach is, the pasuk says he's going to have to pay Karen v'chaimish v'ash. So v'kichesh ba is the oinish. If you do it, what will happen to you? But we know whenever there's an oinish given, there had to be in a pasuk somewhere else that told you don't do it. So Zok to Gemara, v'kichesh ba lamando oinish. As haraminayin, where's the law that says that it's usher to deny an aveda? There's another pasuk that says you're not allowed to deny. My law, let's say that this law is referring to La'inish Mum, because there's two penalties that somebody will suffer if he denies that he had a pekad. There's the denial that will make him be mechuyev anointed that we're discussing here, changes his status from a shomer chinam to a gazlan, which now is mechayivim for everything. But there's another penalty if he swears that he didn't have it and then he was moida. He's chayiv a keren v'chaimish v'asham. So there's two oints in here, and each of these oinchen will require their own lav. So Zok to Gemara, my lav that the loisa kachashu is going la'inish mammon, meaning when he was just kaifer and he didn't swear yet. So the only penalty he's going to have when the Edom come is they're going to be mechayev him even on Oinz. Maybe loisa kachashu is the lav that's going to be mechayev him karen v'choimish and an osham if he swears falsely. It says in the Seifa, the Ishtaba, a case of where he swore, and he's chayiv keren v'choimish, and it says a different halacha there, Michlal the Reisha, the Brisa that we're talking about Kofer B'Pikadon, is speaking the Lo Ishtaba. It's speaking where he didn't swear, and all of this discussion of the Ashara and the Einish is regarding somebody who didn't swear; he just denied it. Where do you see that the Seifa is talking about where he swore? The Katani Seifa b'nishbal sheker lamadnu Einish. Ashar minayin. Where's the isser of doing this, of swearing l'sheker? Tamadoim lo shakaru. So you see, if someone swears, it has its own set of parameters. Lo shakaru is the ashara, and it has a pasuk for the Einish of keren b'chaimish. Umi the Seifa, the Ishtaba, if we're partaging the second half of the Brisa, in a case where he denied that he had the Aveda and he swore about it, Reisha de Lo Ishtaba. The Reisha of the Brisa must be discussing a case specifically where he never swore. And the penalty here merely is that once he denied that he owes it, it's chayv eins. So you have a raya, in fact, to this halacha that Reb Shesha said that a kofer b'bikadon, his penalty is that now he has the status of a gazlan, and from here on in, he's going to be mechuyev eins. So you don't have a raya from the Brisa. You could say, even though we're saying that the Seif was a case of where he swore, the Reisha could also be speaking about a case where he swore. So why do I need two sets of lavin and two sets of oinchim? It depends on what the result was. In the Sefer, speaking where he was Maida ala emes, which now is Mechayvim, a Chaimish and an Asha. But the Reisha is speaking where Adam came and contradicted him. There is no Chaimish and Asha. There's only the Chiyav. So kancha bo Adam. Also Adam, if Adam came in, that's what the Reisha is talking about. Chayiv. The moment he swore, because now we're slugging up the raya, that it means that he didn't swear. The moment he swore, he's chayiv. But if he on his own was moided that he was guilty, and it was really a pikadon, and he denied it, chayiv v'keren v'chaimish v'asham. So we still have a halacha of Shesha that kover b'pikadon even without a shvua instantly makes him into a gazlan and he's a mechuyev eins, but we don't yet have a raya for it from a price. Masuv Rami Bar Chama. Rami Bar Chama has the following shot. Normally, the rule is the person who is not going to have to pay makes the shvuah. For instance, someone's on Moedim Mikzas. You're moneying me $1,000. I'm saying I only owe you $500. Midaraisa, I have to swear that I don't owe you the other $500. And then once I swear, I don't have to pay. So the norm is that the person who's not going to pay is swears, and because of that, he doesn't have to pay. But there are certain cases where the person cannot swear, and therefore the other party could swear and take. So, for instance, a Moedim Mikzas couldn't swear, so therefore the person who is his plaintiff, the person who's making the demand of him, could swear you do owe me the $1,000, and you'll force him to pay. So, one of the cases where the taker swears is where the person who should have sworn is choshed. He's not trusted with the shvuas, so therefore we can't rely on the shvuah. Ketzad, what is an example of somebody who's choshed al shvuah? Echad shvuas eidus, ve'echad shvuas havikad. Afilu shvuas shav. Any type of shvuah that someone once made false renders him somebody who's choshed al shvuah, and therefore, should the need arise ever for him to make a shvuah, we don't let him swear because we don't trust that he won't lie even for the shvuah, because we've already seen in the past that he lied even though he made a shvuah. Correct. The Gemara, in the case of shvuah sapikadain, why do you need that he's disqualified for making a shvuah because he swore falsely? Even before he swore falsely, the moment he denied that the pikadon that he was holding was his, right? He says, this is not yours, it's mine. The moment he denied, even before he made a shvuah, the Torah condemns him already. If you hold that he becomes a gazlan the moment he's kaifer, and therefore he's chayv noinsin, even though he has not yet sworn that this is not a pekod, this is his, then oibazoi, the one of the examples of someone who's shekenegde chosher al shvua, one of the examples shall be somebody who stole, someone who denied that he had a pekod. He's a gazlan, and therefore he's possible to swear. Why wasn't that example offered? Why were we only able to find examples of where he actually swore falsely? So the case that we're saying that makes him, it makes him chayv anointed, but he still is not considered someone who would swear falsely. It's speaking where he doesn't have, they don't find the power right there in his property. There, he's literally caught red-handed. He swore he didn't have it. He swore, I don't have anything of yours. And it was sitting right there in the back room. That's not what happened over here. What happened over here is it was in the agam. He didn't have it. It had run away. It was somewhere lost. The lav kvirahu. It wasn't really a kvira. He's just trying to delay things. I don't have anything of yours. But then he was going to go run and get it and then bring it. The sover ishtamit nalei. I'll push them off. Until I can retrieve the animal and give it to them. So the Val I'll deny it, wouldn't swear, I'll deny it. And I'll run and get it. And if now that you make me swear, that's a whole different story. But you see, just because a guy denies something, you can't write him off just for denying something, because maybe he's not an outright gunner. Maybe he doesn't write, when he says he doesn't have it, he's not lying. He doesn't have it right now. He can get it. And therefore such a person will still be able to make a shvur. And I'll prove it to you, Teda, because the whole Moed B'Miktsas works that way. The law is, if someone says, Yosy, Simon, I lent you $1 million, and Yosy says, La Hadam, he's still kosher to Eidos. He's still kosher for Eidos. Why? His mom is denying something that's an often a moment issue. But the Pikadon, if it was a Pikadon, it's possible Eidos. Why is that? Because if it's a Pikadon, I'm saying, I don't have your watch, and your watch is right here. That's often grab, I'm lying. But if I'm denying that I owe you money, maybe I really owe you the money, but I don't have the money right now. So I'm denying it until I can quickly get the money together. But if push comes to shove and you ask me to swear, I would never have sworn falsely. And therefore, you see this concept that if it's not right there, that someone denies something doesn't make him possible to shvua, because he not necessarily would have sworn. The Amar Ilfa, Ilfa said, Shavua Kaina, meaning when does he become Konitim and he has the status of a Gazlan? Only once he swears. Shavua Kaina Kasol Kadaitil is Chai Boijin Mishashanishbel Sheker Kadar. So Ilfa says something that seems to contradict what Rabbi Shesha said, because Rabbi Shesha said the moment you deny that you have this Pekadin, you're already Mechuyev al Saganev, even before you swore. So Zok Gemara, Ilfa Shavua Kaina, Shavua Kaina. This case as well. Where does Ilfa say Shvu is koina if it was ba'aga? And his denial doesn't mean anything because he's really going to go find it. But swearing already, that will make him into a guy. My Shvu koina. Maybe what Ilfa meant when he said the Tana Ilfa, when he said Shvu koina, he didn't mean what we're discussing here. Avad, the moment you denied you could become a gazlan. Well, what is Shavua Kanya? This is such an off-the-charts pshat that we have to focus on it for a second. Rav Huna Amarav. Because Rav Huna said in the name of Rav, Rav Huna, the Amar Rav Huna Amarav, Mana li biyatcha. If Reuben goes to Shimon and says, Shimon, you owe me $1,000. Ba'lo Eimer, ein lach biyadi. And Shimon says, I don't owe you a penny. I don't owe you a dime. V'nishba, and Shimon swore on the Sefer Torah in Bezdin, I don't owe you a penny. And now Edom come along and say, that $1,000 Shimon that you swore that you didn't know Ruvain, you do owe it to Ruvain. We have Edom. The Allah is Potter. Shimon is still Potter. Even though he's been convicted and confirmed as a denier of a money that he owed, he doesn't have to pay. One Bechidish. Shenemar, because it says in the Pasuk, V'lokach ba'olav v'lo yishalim. The Pasuk says, Shavuos Hashem tia bein shnayim im l'shalach yodeh v'malechas re'eyu v'lokach ba'olav v'lo yishalim. And we darshan it. Kivon shekiblu habaylam shavua. Once the Bailam accept a shavua from the defendant who they made a claim against, Shuv ein mishalam mum. Never again will they be able to collect mum. There's a bumbadik chiddush that if someone denies that he owes money and he makes a shvuah, even if he's found guilty, he doesn't have to pay. That was the chiddush of Rabbi Huna Amarav. If you stole, yeah. So the next Amid now is going to work with this sheet of Rav and see where it stems and where it doesn't, because it's going to get us into a lot of trouble. So you're on the right track, because there's a lot of kashas that are going to be asked. Okay, so what did we let's just review. There's so much information happening here. So what did we just have? First, we had a Rav Sheshes who said that merely denying that this pekadon is a pekadon makes you into a gazlan already, and you're chayav anointed. That was a shaila, because Ilfa seemed to have said, we had other brayos that seemed to indicate that only if you make a shvuah you're a gazlan. You're not a gazlan until you make the shvuah, even though you denied it. So the Gemara says it depends on if you have some plausible deniability. In other words, could you say that I didn't really deny it, I was going to pay you back, I just didn't have it available to me. But let's say we knew it's right there when you deny it, maybe that would make you into a ganif right away. So there was that discussion. So the Gemara seemed to have said that even your papa, who is saying that you become a gazlan the moment you deny, that's only if there's no wiggle room, if it's not in the aga, meaning you're not just trying to push him off. But if it's clearly there and you're denying that you have it, in fact, that makes you a gazlan right away, and you'll be mechuyev anointing. But there was a little discussion about it. Now we learned a new halacha. Maybe what Ilfa means when he said shvuah kaina, it means once someone swears to deny something, even if he's proven wrong, he doesn't have to pay him. Gufa. So let's drill down, because this is a huge chiddush, and let's see where it applies and where it doesn't. Amar Avuna Marav, Manali biyotcha. Reuben tells Shimon, you owe me $1 million. And Shimon says, Ein lach biyadi klum, I don't owe you a penny. V'nishba. And Shimon swears. And then Uvo Edom, and Edom come and say that, in fact, Shimon does owe $1 million. Potter, he doesn't have to pay anymore. Shenemar v'lakach bol v'lo yishali. Kivin shekiblu b'ayim shvuah. Once the b'ayim were makabel shvuah, shuv ein mishalom and mammon, there's no more liability for them to pay money. So Omar Rava, this bombshell chiddush, mistavra milsa derav, is only been milva the loitzanim. That's only if it's a milva. Reuben tells Shimon, you owe me $1 million. Shimon denies it. He swears he doesn't have to pay the $1 million anymore. But the loitzanim, because there's no money that actually belongs to the plaintiff that's here in existence in the hands of the loiva, because the money's gone. What if it's an actual watch? What if Reuben tells Shimon, you have a watch of mine, give it back to me? Shimon denies it and he swears, and then Edom see the watch by him. It doesn't make sense to say that even in that case, the person gets to keep the watch, because this watch Ramish doesn't belong to you. Mamela, it will patter my chiv to pay back a loan. I'll swallow that. But to say that my watch now becomes yours, that is too difficult to say. That's what Rabbi wanted to qualify Rav's halach. But he swore in the Shem of Hashem. Amar Rav actually said this halacha afilu b'pikad. So even though in Svar I might say that a pikadon would have to go back, the Gemara is saying for sure Rav said his halacha that once you swear to deny something, you're part to pay it back, applies even to pikadon. You know why? The chisiv krab b'pikadon siv. The pasuk that we read, Shvuah Hashem Tibin Shneim, that's right in the parasha of Shomer. It's speaking about a Shomer. So it's speaking about an actual pikadon, and even there it says v'lakach ba'olav v'lo yishal. Bombadik chiddush. Yosy Rab Nachman Zikar Lashmait. Rab Nachman said over this halacha of Rav that once you deny with a shvuah, you're part to pay. Eisvei Rab Achabar Ben Yumi Rab Nachman. So Rab Achabar Ben Yumi asked Rab Nachman the following shayla: Heichan Pigdaini. Reuben goes to Shimon and says, I gave you my watch. Where is my watch? Amr le Avad. The Shomer says, I lost it. I'm a Shomer Chinam. I'm potter on Geneva Vaved. Mashbiachani. Swear to me that you taka lost it and that you weren't a Pesheya or that you're not holding on to it. The Amar Amen. And the Shomer said Amen. The Shomer swore in Bezin that the Aveda is gone and he doesn't have the Pikadon anymore and they don't have to pay you. And then Va'idim Aiden Naisai Shachlei. And now Adam came along and said, oh, so the Pikadon wasn't a watch, the Pikadon was meat. He ate it. So the halacha is Mishalem Esakeret. He has to pay carrot. He doesn't pay kefil. Why doesn't he pay kefil? Because he didn't steal it. A shomer who denies doesn't pay kefil. But no, if it starts off as a shomer, he's not chayiv. Only by toyin tainis ganet do you pay kefil. But toyin tainis ovad, you don't pay kefil. Okay, what if after he swore, the shomer himself came clean and says, you know what, I lied, I really did eat it. So then that's the typical carbon shvua, mishalem keren v'chay mishvash. The problem here is, why is it that he pays? Didn't we just say that Rav holds that once someone swears to say that I don't have to pay cotton, that I'm part of him paying, even if you're chayiv, you don't have to pay. So it's shver on Rav. Amalei Rab Nachman, no, hachabamay eskinon kohen de nishba chutz lebez. The shvua here in this case wasn't a proper shvua in Bezdin with all of the halachas and all of the pitchers. That's what type of shvua is the Torah talking about? That once you swear falsely, you don't have to pay anymore. That's only a shvua that was done with all of the pitchers of Bezdin. Here, it was a voluntary shvua, or he wasn't in Bezdin. So it doesn't have the strength of a shvua that the Torah is referring to that patters something. Amalei told him, it can't be with chutz lebez. Why? Because if it's not a good shvua, if it's not a real shvua, how in the sefer would he be mechayiv keren v'chay mishvah osham, be mechayiv makarban for this? It must have followed all the rules. And sefer heichem begdoini amalei nignav mashbiach ani v'amar amen v'oidem idnoi so sheganvoi mishalom tashlim kevel. Why? Mishalom tashlim kevel. He pays kevel. So again, how does he pay kevel? He only pays kevel if he was tiny times kind of with a shvua. If you're telling me the shvua wasn't a real, properly done shvua, then mi kakevel. How could you pay kevel? You only pay kevel if there's a proper shvua done that he was mechuyev to swear in Bezdin. So it must be that it was speaking where it was sworn in Bezdin. So I believe the ratio also has to be where he's sworn in Bezdin. And if that's the case, why does he have to pay? Amar lei. So Rab Nachman could say, really, I can answer you very simply. Reisha is chutz lebezin, and that's why you still have to pay. The sefer is speaking where he swore in Bezdin. However, I'm not going to tell you a teretz that's a little bit dull, because normally you want to say that the two cases are the same scenario. So therefore, I'll give you another teretz. Idi v'idi bebezdin. Both the Reisha and sefer were both speaking where he swore in Bezdin. But one was done with the rules and one was done without the rules. In the first case, before Bezdin was mechayiv a proper shvua, he jumped up and voluntarily made a shvua. That's not a real shvua. With all the pitch with all the rules, therefore he's still mechayiv to pay if the Eidim prove him wrong. But in the sefer, it was a real, proper, bona fide shvua that Bezdin was mechayiv him, and therefore it's mechayiv him kefil. And ein chanami, in a case where there's not a chayiv kefil, like if it's turning time this avada, he would be potter in gans. Now you might ask me, you didn't want to say reisha shaloi bebezdin. You didn't want to say reisha shaloi bebezdin, sefer bebezdin. So now instead you're saying reisha is bekovet, sefer is shaloi kovet. So Rashi, that doesn't bother us so much, because Rashi tells us that we'd much rather say that it was in the same place with a slightly different circumstance than say that it was in two separate places. And I'm just going to quote in Rashi. We'd rather say that there's a variation in what occurred, but they both occurred in the same place, but not have to say that it happened in two different places.
So if it's like Efshin, why does it change the over the Mignab?
Because that's the biggest difference. Because when do you pay kefil? If Adam came, then you would pay kefil if it was nignav.
Would it be different in Mignab?
Well, it wasn't nignav. He's there. It was Toyin Tan's time.
Mignab is it not,
only a Toyin Tan's kind of pays kefil, not a Toyin Tan's own.
but if it would be enough in Koifitz or Bonfire.
I'm not sure what precisely we refer to.
Okay.
Well, let's go through it in greater detail a little later. I just want to see if we can get the blot finished. Let's think about this. The Rav loy shvirlach. I know from elsewhere. I know you don't hold the Rav. I know you don't hold this halacha. That once you swear, you don't have to pay. So if that's the case, mashchuni nafshich ad Rav Lamelach. Why are you twisting yourself into a pretzel to try to for the Mishnah that it's just with Rav? You don't hold like Rav anyway. Amalei, I'm not going to told him, maybe learn a lesson from this. Lefrusha the Rav. The Rav Hachimitaris Nisan. I wanted to explain Rav Shita. Just because I don't hold of it, I still Rav is Adam Gadol. He said a Shita. I want to explain to you how Rav is going to understand the Mishnah. Frag the Gemara, how could Rav Nachman Taka argue on Rav? Via Rav Kraka Amar. Rav has a pasuk to back him up. It says, so how is Rav Nachman going to learn the pasuk otherwise, where it doesn't mean that once you swear you're part to pay. So the Gemara Amri Kra, the pasuk teaches us something else. Maybe that's what the Torah is telling us. We discussed a rule that whenever there's a shvua, it's always someone who's going to swear and avoid payment. Where do we know that from? Maybe that's from Valacha Ba'ala, V'lo Yishalem. Who swears? Someone who's going to have a lakicha, someone who's going to retain his money and V'lo Yishalem, and because of the shvua, he won't have to pay. So the Nishboim V'lo Yishalem Hu Da'asa. Valachach Ba'ala V'lo Yishalem, Misha Olav L'Shalem, the person who would otherwise have had to pay, who Nishba, he'll swear, and now he no longer has to. Okay, Gavalta. Matzav Rav Hamnun. Hamnun asked the Shaila. Hishbiya alav chamisha pamim. Can you imagine? You stole my thing. He swore no. You stole my thing. He swore no. 5 times in a row. The halacha is bein b'fnei bezdin. Say if this happened in front of bezdin. Ubein shaloi b'fnei bezdin. And say if this happened after bezdin. The kafir alav, and he was kafir each time. Chayiv al kol achas v'achas. He'll be mechuyev a special keren chaymish v'asham for each and every shvuah that he made. Rab Shimon asked, "Matam, why in the world it's on the same money? Why are you going to be mechuyev 5 times for it?" Hoyel v'yochol lachzar ulahodos, because technically, after each shvuah that he was proven wrong on, he could have been moida, and now technically there's still money owned here by the original buyer. The problem is, v'hacha kavetz le'matzas amr. You can't say this is a case. Now the question is, after I swore once, how is there any chiv for me to pay anymore? We learned no matter what, even if Adam came, I don't have to pay. So once I swore once, I become potter from paying. How could my second shvur be a shvur of a kfiris moment? I'm already potter from that moment once I swore. And here you can't use the same terutzim you used before. You can't say it's speaking loy kafatz, because what is the lashon habraysa? Hishbiya alav. Hishbiya alav is mashma bezdin was machayiv. Amr hishbiya alav katan. And you can't say it was chutz lebezdin either. Chutz lebezdin lematzis amrit, because it says hishbiya alav chamisha pavim bein b'fnei bezdin. So you're stuck. All of your terutzim that you came up with before will not work over here. So Rav Hamnuna asked the Gavalta Kash on Rav. It seems like even after you swear, there's still a chiyuv moment, but he came up with the teretz, and he says it's litztad and katan. Hishbiya alav, either it was chutz lebezdin. So when it says hishbiya alav b'fnei bezdin, if it was a hishbiya alav, if they were machayiv him to swear, then it was chutz lebezdin. Or even if it says b'fnei bezdin, meaning not in the case of a hishbiya alav, ubebezdin kafatz. So either way, we're speaking about a shvuah that would not have qualified to pater him from the keren, and that's why he can swear on it 5 times. Most of Rav has a kasha. Balabai shetan tainas ganav v'pikadon. A shomer pikadon denied that he owed the money for the pikadon because he said it was stolen from me, and I'm only a shomer chinam. I'm pater on ganeva v'aveda, and this was stolen from me. V'nishba, and the shomer swore that this was stolen from me. And then the shomer on his own was moida, that he in fact stole it himself. Ubo Adam, and then Adam came. If he was moida before the Adam came, then Mishalom Kerem Chaimish V'asha. That's halach of carbon shvua. The Mishabo Adam hoida. But what if first Adam came and then he was moida? Mishalom Tashlim Kevel. He'll only pay Kevel V'asha. So he pays the Kevel because the Adam found him. And the Torah says there's a chiv cable for that. And it brings an asham because Lavasi was moida. Why doesn't he have to pay the chaimish? Rashi tells us, we learned this earlier in the Masechta, The chaimish oila b'kfeila. The takana, the kapara that he needed from a chaimish, he's doing it anyway. Because when he paid kefil, that's extra chaimish. It's more than the chaimish. So that will cover him for his chaimish. So the lachem l'sham tashlim kefil v'ash. The hacha chustal bezdin the covers the matziam. This case of balabai shetan tanis ganav v'bikad v'nishba cannot be speaking in a case where it wasn't 100% of a shua by the rules, where bezdin was machayiv. I mean, it was in bezdin. How do I know that? Because kefil katan, it's going to trigger a chiv kefil. If it was a shvua that triggered a chiv kefil, it was a bona fide perfect shvua. And it still says that if it was moida later, he pays keren. Ela amarava kol haida. We're changing pshat in how we understand Rav. And we're saying Rav never said his halacha that you don't have to pay once you swore in a case where you were moida. So kol haida, whenever it was the defendant that was moida that he swore falsely, loishna toin tainis avad, veloishna toin tainis ganev, regardless, loy omar Rav. Rav never said that he would be potter. There you'd be chayiv. So if you swore falsely, and it was either a case of toin tainis avad or toin tainis ganev, avada, you pay the keren back to the bail. Taksiv v'hisvada. It says v'hisvada, the boy l'shlume keren v'chaimish. It says in the case where v'hisvada, in the case where he swore falsely and he was moida, he pays keren v'chaimish. So you see clearly that even if he was moida, he pays keren v'chaimish. He pays the keren. And toin tainis ganev u'bo'ed. What about a case where he said it was nignav and he swore that it was nignav, and then Adam came along and said that he really took it himself? Nami loy amarav. There as well, even though you swore falsely and you were proving wrong by Adam, there as well you have to pay the keren. Nami loy amarav. Why? Taksiv, because it's a mefurish pasuk that says the shlume kefil. The Torah tells you in the case of toin tainis ganev and Adam come, you got to pay kefil. So Rav can't argue with the pasuk. So where did Rav say his chiddush that once you swear you're going to be potter? Only in one limited case. Kiko Amar Rav is going to toin tainis avad. It was a shomer who said that this aveda got lost from me, therefore I'm potter, and he swore v'nishba. And he wasn't moed because we weren't earlier. If he was moed, he pays keren v'chaimish v'ash. He wasn't moed. Ubo Adam and Adam came. There, you're pottering God. So this broad halacha that we once heard from Rav, we're now keeping it to a very limited case. Only in the case where he was contradicted by Adam, only in the case where the Torah doesn't specify some other chiyuv like it does by toin tainis ganev, the Torah specifies kefil. Rav's not arguing. Toin tainis avad, when the Torah doesn't specify the halacha, there we'll say it's v'lakav halav lo yishalim. Once he swears, he doesn't pay. Azar Rav Gamda v'amar l'shmaitza kamei Rav Ashi. Rav Gamda said over this nice shak levitaria that Rav Hamnuna had for answering the kasha on Rav that we had from the case of Ashpiyah of Chamisha Pavim. And he said it over Kamei Rav Ashi. Amalei, Rav Ashi told him, I don't understand. What's going on over here? Rav Hamnuna said this kasha of the 5, and then what happened is Rava now said that Rav's halacha is very limited to a specific case. So if Rav's halacha is very limited to a specific case, let's look at the kasha that Rav Huna brought up. Rav Huna brought up a kasha, Shpiyah of Chamisha Pavim, Ben B'fnei Bezin, Ben Shalom B'fnei Bezin, V'koifer of Chayav al Kolachas Fachas. Now the problem here is these cases are not cases of toin tainis avad. So if that's the case, Rav never said his halacha in these cases. So why would Rav Huna ask a kasha on Rav if Rav didn't even say his halacha in these cases? So that was the problem that we're having over here. So Azar Rav Gamda of Amar Shmai to Kamei Rav Ashi, he said over this chiddush of Rava in front of Rav Ashi that Rav's halacha is only limited to a case of toin tainis avad where Adam came, and Rav Ashi says I reject it. It doesn't make sense because Hashu Mahar Rav Hamnuna was Talmidei the Rav. Rav Hamnuna was the Talmud of Rav. No one knew Rav's halachas better than Rav Hamnuna. The Yoda, the Omar Rav, Haida. He knew that Rav's halacha does apply even if the fellow was Maida. The Kamois of Haida. and he asked the kasha of mishpil of chamisha pamim the name of the bezin the haida that you schav kalachas vachas. If he's asking the kasha and he knows Rab's halacha, then of course you see from Rav Nuna that Rab's halacha is even in the case of haida. How could you say that Rav is never going to patter the guy from the Karen when it's haida?
That Breite doesn't say what kind of, it says Yishbi.
But it says mishama kalachas vachas means you're paying the chaimis each time. So you only pay a chaimis if it's haida. It doesn't make a difference. Rav is saying that never are you put by haida, right? If item can by turn something, but by haida you'll never pay. But by haida you'll always pay. So that's the problem. How can you say by haida you'll always pay? Rav didn't say halacha. Rav Amnuna definitely a jog halt the Rav said it by haida. Yeah, atam at haida le'em Rav. So Amalei Rabachas Abel Ravashi, I think you misunderstood Rav Amnuna. Rav Amnuna hachi kakash. Rav Amnuna, this was his kasha. Avada, he knows that Rav said that Haida Avada is Chayiv. So if Haida is Chayiv, what was the whole kasha from Mishpila? So tomorrow, Rav Nuna Hachi Kakasha, turning on to Amr Aleph. I Amrit Bishlama, if you're going to say Bishlama, Nishba, Ku Asu Edim Mechayiv, if you're going to say that even though someone swore, he would still be Chayiv when Edim came, therefore, mechavin carbon a shvua b'shrais. That's why you could be mechayiv a shvua, a carbon for the second and third shvua. Why? Because he could have been made. Potter, if you're going to hold that when Adam comes, he's also Potter, which is what we're suggesting Rav holds. How could it be possible? If Adam came right now, after he denied it with a shvua, and said he's takachayim, he would be part of the pay. We're going to be mechayim for denying Mammon, even though if Adam would come right now, he wouldn't have to pay. So how can you be mechayim a guy for denying Mammon that even if Adam came right now, he wouldn't have to pay? What's he denying? He wouldn't be mechayim to pay anyway. So because it can be made again. Hashim is loydi. He wasn't made now. So therefore, we can understand Rav Nuna's kasha, even if Avada Dahidah doesn't pater him. But even if Adam paters him, that's also a reason why he shouldn't be mechuyev 5 times. Okay, it's 6:50. Unfortunately, I only finished one moment, but we have to stop here. But tomorrow is a very small daf. It's a long toisvus, but it's not a complicated toisvus, and therefore we'll have to make up for lost time tomorrow. We didn't waste any time today. It was just a very complicated day.